As the Paris terror attacks unfolded, social media and technology offered help to victims in crisis, but it also assisted the terrorists. Many people are wondering how the perpetrators of the attacks were able to go completely undetected before carrying out the deadly string of attacks. The focus is now on encrypted apps.
CBS News contributor Nicholas Thompson is the editor of the New Yorker magazine's website, newyorker.com, and he joins us now. Thanks for being here, Nick.
Pleasure to be here.
So the FBI said technology is making it easier for terrorists to chatter online because they're communicating using dark encryption. What is that exactly?
So dark encryption is basically encryption that the government can't get into, encryption that's encrypted from end to end. So from the time I type information into my phone and send it to you, it's encrypted at every part, and it's impossible for the FBI or the NSA to sort of swoop in and get it at any part in that whole transaction.
What do the companies have to say about that?
Well, so a lot of it is done through software companies that aren't based in the United States. Post-Snowden, a lot of use of social network communication apps moved to software built in, say, Russia, which obviously is not going to have the same ties to the U.S. security agencies. But at the same time, post-Snowden, the relationship between the government and Silicon Valley was completely poisoned, and companies like Google and Apple have built much, much more encryption into it. So as information, if you and I chat on a messaging service, that information is stored in all kinds of places. And it used to be the case that the government could basically get into at least one of them or two of them or three of them and get that information. Now, with an encrypted sort of end-to-end, it's much, much harder.
But they could, at the end of the day, there'd have to be a whole lot of legal wrangling to get access to those servers. But they could get access to those servers, or is it encrypted completely, you have full safety for these terrorists to be able to chat and communicate?
It depends on the system, it depends on the software, but in a lot of cases, yes, if you actually, even if you get complete access, and even if the court signs off and says you can go in and get anything you want, it can still be encrypted and you can't use it at all, right? So the whole point, for example, of using Tor is that even if the government had access to it at almost any point, it can't read it. Now, so the government would have to get your phone or would have to get your computer. Once it does that, then it can get a lot more of the information.
Doesn't this put technology companies in a really difficult place? Because, for law-abiding users of the technology, some people might not like the government being able to poke in, and obviously that's a concern. I mean, doesn't this put those companies in a tough spot?
It puts them in an incredibly tough spot because it puts three things against each other, right? It puts their financial interests against it. It puts their political pro-U.S. we want to help the government interests, and then puts their sort of civil libertarian side, right? So these are companies that come out of the counterculture in San Francisco. U.S. law enforcement does not have a perfect record of treating civilians with complete respect when it has access to their data. So you see all of those things in a tangle, and they're having a very hard time figuring out what to do.